Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? Oh gosh. Sometimes I just put together the scenes really fast and just realize now you look huge next to me, Rob. Normally, it's Giant Doug, but I think you may even be larger than Giant Doug. I should have scaled this a little better.
Holy crap.
This is... All right, you really are a dinosaur today. You're a Robosaurus Rex for sure today.
So. I prefer Tyrannosaurus Rob, but...
Oh, Tyrannosaurus Rob is better. You're right. It's got a certain roll off the tongue that a Robosaurus Rex does not.
Je ne sais quoi.
Yes, a je ne sais quoi. We just don't know what, but it's better. Kaiju Rob. Yes, I like Kaiju Rob too. That's great. Anyway, hello everyone. Happy Thursday. We're back, but with 100% less
a
Doug.
dinosaur story.
Yeah, we're back. A dinosaur story. But no Doug today. I put it in chat and I put it in the title. There is no Doug today. There is no Doug, only Zool. So you'll get what you get and you don't throw a fit. No. But Doug is still kind of getting back into the swing of things after vacation. He's back. We will have a Spider-Man stream tomorrow. So if you have been, I know some people have expressed concern and been like, what happened to the Friday night streams? Doug just went on vacation. He'll be back, you know.
Don't panic. That's what the Hitchhiker's Guide tells us.
Yes. So he is back, but just has a lot of work to catch up on because he was having a great time in Hawaii. So I think he posted somewhere that that's where he was. Not that it matters. He's not there anymore. But yes, I see that we are already on level 2 of this hype train. Thank you all so much. We got a list of questions going here. So let's get down to the rules so that we can start answering these questions and chatting with you all.
Rules? She only wants rules so she can break them.
First and foremost, we are going to give priority to bit messages. Since that is some real world money spent, we may have time to look at some highlighted messages in the chat, but highlighting a message does not guarantee that we will see it. And if you want to highlight a message in a question, you might want to wait until we actually hit the end of the bit questions, because that is generally when I will see them. Because otherwise they tend to get lost. Or I can't literally scroll up that far, so there's that. Please watch for spoilers. Not everyone has had a chance to see The Batman yet. Rob and I have, so if you would like to ask some non-spoiler questions about The Batman, we can answer them.
Fucking awesome.
But no spoilers, please, because there is some things to spoil. Please watch the length of your questions. No paragraphs. If they tend to be paragraphs, I tend to have to read them fast and then we lose the question, and feels like you might have wasted your bits. I'm sorry. Wow, why do I feel like I'm missing something?
No Bible length questions. Did you say that?
Yeah, I said no paragraphs.
Okay. I stopped listening, so...
Oh, great!
It's not you, I just have ADD, so...
Spoilers, The Batman is long. It is. Listen, I will say this.
It did test me a bit. There were a couple moments where I'm like, oh my god.
Didn't totally feel like 3 hours, but it does have a little bit where it drags until it picks back up. But yeah, anyway. All right, well, I guess that's it. I feel like I'm missing something, but you know what? We're just gonna move forward. So let's get this started. Alexander, thank you for the 50 bits. Hi, Rob. There's an episode of The Simpsons from season 23 called Holidays of Future Past. A lot of fans, myself included, consider it the best of the later episodes. It's hilarious, charming, creative, and surprisingly emotional. I highly recommend it.
That wasn't the one that did a spoof of, like, Christmas rom-coms, was it?
I'm not sure. Chat,
because Doug showed me that one, and I did think that was really legit funny. But I don't know if that's not the one, then I haven't seen it. But I'll have to. What was it? Ghosts of Holidays Past or
Holidays of Future Past.
Holidays of Future Past. Okay.
Alexander says it was a flash forward episode.
Oh, another flash, like the one where Lisa's president and "Smell You Later" became the way to say goodbye. Nice. I'll have to check it out.
All right, cool. Professor God, thank you for the 50 bits. Hello, Rob. Do you share Doug's opinion that Burton's Batman is better than The Dark Knight?
Uh, they're two different beasts. I love The Dark Knight a lot. That's like probably my top 3. What I appreciate about Burton's Batman is it's a Batman that we were just talking, Heather and I were just talking about this. It's a Batman that I find, in my personal opinion, a little more realistic, because I kind of believe that anybody who goes to the lengths to dress up as a bat and pummel the crap out of criminals late at night is probably unhinged and would probably have an attitude of let God sort him out. So, but I get that the comic doesn't do that. The comic is law and justice, which is what we know as Batman. That's not how it started in the beginning. So I think that's closer. I don't know. I like them both equally for different reasons. But if you ask my personal favorite, if I'm like being non-objective, I would probably say the first Tim Burton Batman. Though I actually like Batman Returns more than that, so because I'm insane.
I mean, I don't think that's a terribly unpopular opinion. I personally think Dark Knight is better than Burton's Batman, but like when you're talking about the Batman 89 versus Batman Returns, I'm like, ooh, I don't know actually.
Batman 89 is just closer to how I think in the real world Batman would probably operate. And
Yeah.
I've always I like how dark and gritty it is. I like just how messed up Michael Keaton is. So it's just more my thing. But The Dark Knight, like, it definitely has a lot more character development, both Batman Begins and Dark Knight, for Bruce Wayne. That's for damn sure. So,
yeah. Alexander, thank you for the 50 bits. Hi, Rob. What is your favorite portrayal of Harley Quinn? The original animated series, her spin-off show, or Margot Robbie?
Oh, the animated series. Season 1. Season 2 got a little weird for me, but season 1 I thought was so freaking funny and just off the wall. I'm talking about the new animated series. If you're talking about Batman the animated, probably a tie between Batman the animated series and her own like animated show.
Yeah,
Margot Robbie's fine. Harley Quinn kind of like just works better in animation for me, just because she's so goofy, and I think animation plays to that strength.
Well, I think it's an interesting question though too, because all of them are good in their own right. Like I don't think.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of many like, oh, that's just a bad Harley Quinn. Like even in the Injustice games, that version of Harley Quinn is fun.
It's
just
like Jokers, except for Jared Leto.
Except for Jared Leto, we don't talk about Jared Leto. Adam Grunther, thank you for the 50 bits. How far are you into Peacemaker? Thoughts so far?
Oh, I finished it. You know what's funny? If you asked me 3 episodes in, I would be like, I hate this, but this isn't doing much for me. That was a slow burn, and it knew how to end on a high note. Those last 3 or 4 episodes were really, really good and really funny. So it got there in the end.
I told you!
Yeah, it was a slow start. I was just like, the first 3 episodes, I'm like, it just kind of was a slog for me. But yeah, by the end, and I just fucking love Robert Patrick in anything. And him, like, he's such a perfect creepy villain, even when he's playing like kind of this goofy villain role, but it's like the whole like neo-Nazi like KKK thing. I'm like, oh man, he's still fucking scary.
Yeah, but it's a great show. If you haven't watched it.
And Eagly. It's all about Eagly.
I would die for Eagly.
We all would.
We all would. Everyone should. Have you ever seen an eagle hug a human? If you haven't, god damn it, watch Peacemaker. That Disney nerd, thank you for the 100 bits. Hello, Heather, Rob, and Doug, who is totally here but is just invisible and deaf right now. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Thanks for asking. Appreciate that.
I'm fine. Thanks for asking.
Professor God, thank you for the 50 bits. Hey, Rob, what are your personal opinions on The Sopranos?
I liked it. Doug was way more into it than I was. But I'm not long shows. I don't know if I have some kind of like I joked about I've never been diagnosed with ADD, but sometimes I wonder just long shows after a while just sometimes wear me down. So but I did enjoy it. There were things I did like bringing back his mom with the CGI head. Like there were little things I didn't like, but I thought it was a good show.
Okay, I've never seen it. The length of it is very daunting for me right now, but I've got HBO Max. I just feel like I have to check it out. Sailor Aaron, thank you so much for that 14-month subscription. Welcome back. Appreciate it. 14 months, woohoo! And also hello to you all, Dashing Doug, Heavenly Heather, and Righteous Rob. I hope you guys are having a marvelous week, and I'm glad to be here hanging with this awesome crew.
The righteous. Not righteous.
Rob's like, I don't know what to say about that.
I'd make a bad Batman. I'm not righteous.
Adam Grunther, thank you for the 50 bits. Which Batman performance is worse? Tommy Lee Jones or Uma Thurman?
Ooh.
I love Uma Thurman so much.
I'm gonna go with Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
Because he's so shat on Jim Carrey. And then not only did that, but then tried to overact Jim Carrey and really sucks at it. Like there's no charm to like Tommy Lee's performance is hilarious just because it's so off the wall, but there's no charm to it. Like it's actually just kind of annoying and like it's what are you doing? Uma Thurman, like it's just bad, but that universe is so bad on every level, it's just par for the course. Like there are moments in Batman Forever like outside of like Alfred's illness, and there's like one great speech Alfred has talking to Bruce, and Bruce like looks outside and sees like a younger version of himself at his parents' grave, and that's the only scene in the movie that you can take even semi-seriously. Batman Forever has more scenes like that, like it tries a little more. So Tommy Lee in it is to me the worst thing in it, whereas Uma Thurman's not even the worst thing in it. You could go with anybody. George Clooney, like everybody's bad to varying degrees.
That's true. I guess that's true. Hewlett fan, thank you for the 50 bits. Hey Doug, love the Dark Knight review. Was refreshing for you to praise a film that everyone loved. Oh wait, he's not here. Well, tell him I'm pleased anyway.
I'll pass it on.
Professor God, thank you for the 50 bits. What are some of your favorite television dramas? Ooh.
TV dramas.
I really did love Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad would be on there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Sopranos was really good. I wish it was consistent because there are chunks of Lost that were amazing. But the whole show altogether just no. Trying to think
maybe
of any
Mad
others.
Men. I really enjoyed Mad Men.
Oh, Mad Men was really good. Game of Thrones is another one where it was too inconsistent. I would like easily throw that on there if it weren't for the last few seasons.
Right. Yeah. That Disney nerd, thank you for the 100 bits. Have either of you seen Once Upon a Time? I started it for the first time about a week and a half ago, and I'm already on season 2. I really like it so far.
Peter Pan's a dick. Where do you get to that? That was so, apparently like, see, I never belonged to that fan base, but I did watch a number of seasons of the show, and I just loved that little brat so much. Everything about that season was just kind of messed up, and I'm like, oh, I'm enjoying this. I found out the fans were, I don't like it, but if you go in knowing that show is hot trash, it's great, and it just gets stupider and stupider with every passing season. Like it just gets so bad. But if it's like if you like that kind of thing, and I kind of do sometimes, like I'm like, no, I just want to watch garbage. Like it's pretty freaking funny.
Yeah, it's one of those weird shows where like it started pretty okay, but then when it went off the rails, it went off the rails and just embraced it.
Like the first couple, like I'd say about the first 3 or 4 seasons are pretty good. What was it? Frozen. I think the Frozen season is the first time where I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. Then when they brought Brave into it, one of my least favorite Pixar films, I'm like, oh, this is just getting worse and worse.
But it like embraced it, like you said. It's like it was like a
Yeah.
Riverdale type situation for me for a little while, where I was just like, "This is so amazingly awful. I can't look away."
But for some people, like if you just like something that's just dumb, like it amuses you, like it just every decision they made on that show amused me for how bad it was. And I'm
Hmm.
just like, I find this entertaining for how bad it is.
Exactly. Orlando Garcia, thank you for the 100 bits. Hey Rob, I asked Doug this prior, but have you ever seen pictures of biblically accurate angels?
Yeah, I've watched Evangelion.
I don't know why that got me so hard, but that really got me.
It's true. Like I don't find any of the designs in Ava that far from biblically accurate angels. Yeah, I mean I've seen like pictures in old medieval and like yeah, it's lots of eyes,
Mm-hmm.
many eyes.
Lots and lots of eyes. Mumrar, thank you for the 50 bits. How do you feel about bringing back intermissions in the theater for movies around 3 hours? Instead of adding a longer runtime to the movie, you could put the commercials / trailers there instead of the beginning. I think that'd be fine.
I thought
That's a
this was
great idea.
I thought this was a terrible idea until you mentioned putting the trailers in the middle, and I'm like, that's fucking brilliant. Because Doug saw the Batman again with me yesterday, and I sat there through all those damn trailers and commercials and realized I'm like, this movie was supposed to start at 11:30, and we didn't get to the movie till like noon, and I'm like, man, and there's another 3 hours to go. Yeah, I'd say if you put something in the intermission like the trailers and stuff, I'd actually be completely for that.
Professor God, thank you for the 50 bits. What were some of your dream jobs when you were young?
Roller coaster designer.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That was like my number one dream job. And I found out you had to know things like math and engineering, and I died a little inside. I never looked back.
I like to share this as one of the most like outlandish ideas that I had as a younger kid. Okay, listen, I wasn't like in middle school spouting this, but as a younger kid, because I went to a Catholic school and I had nuns for teachers for like up until 1st or 2nd grade, I used to want to be a nun that was also a pop star. And then I saw Sister Act and I was like, it's possible! Praise God, I'm gonna be a pop star singing nun!
I feel like there's got to be a couple animes that do that too. Not gonna lie.
So for a little while there, I really just wanted to be a pop star that was also a nun.
I'll say this: I was a boy in the 1980s, so astronaut was also way up there. We had Star Wars and Explorers and Fly the Navigator, and like sci-fi was really in. So astronaut when I was a little kid was my Halloween costume one year.
Yeah.
It was like 1985. I dressed up as an astronaut.
That's cute. Devox, thank you so much for that 22-month subscription.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Appreciate that. And they just say, hello, everyone. Hello. I know, guys, thank you for the 23-month subscription. Holy cow, you're so close to 2 years. Appreciate that. How do you feel knowing that Turning Red has a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes? I'm still excited for the movie.
Good. So, and this always happens with Pixar, I swear to God.
Mm-hmm.
The original trailer sucked, in my opinion. And I'm like, this does not do it for me. The more about what the story's actually about that's coming out, I'm like, oh, it's a metaphor. Okay, maybe this will be interesting. So I don't know. I'm not going to judge it till I see it, but I'm definitely a little more interested with all the good reviews it's getting.
Yeah. I am too. I also want to see the new Ryan Reynolds Netflix movie that comes out this weekend. So
I still say it's a tanuki. Doesn't look like a red panda.
I know, right? It really does. It truly does. Zelmurin, thank you for the 50 bits. Rob, do you get into slice of life animes? One of my favorites is Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions. Highly recommend checking it out.
I do. And what sucks is now that you asked that, I can't think of any that what did I see? There's one called Nana that was on Netflix. That was pretty good. See, Your Lie in April. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's like a whole because I've seen some older ones from the 80s too that had a I forget the name of it. There's a Japanese name for it, but they're called like healing animes, and they're supposed to be just like to kind of be in the background and like set a mood, particularly if you're recovering from an illness or something. And I've seen a couple of those, and they're very atmospheric. But there was a good one about like the post-apocalypse, and it was just
Huh.
a girl. I think she may have been a robot living her life and just running this like little cafe. And another good one. It's kind of slice of life, but post-apocalyptic and weird would be Kino's Journey, because there's
Mm.
no plot. It's
Mhm.
just episodic. Mushishi's another good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying like an actual slice of life anime. I'm trying to think of more,
Yeah.
but I do. I swear.
I know, guys. Thank you for the 50 bits. Rob, have you checked out The Batman, and did you love it?
I did. Really quickly, somebody pointed this out in chat. Kiki, yes, Kiki is totally a slice of life anime.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And that's one of my favorite movies. So, yeah, I did see The Batman. It's really fucking good.
It's good.
That car chase when they brought out that car, I had parts of my body not tingling since Mad Max Fury Road, where I was like, yeah! It's one of those man moments where like, I just want to eat a raw steak right now while watching this car chase.
I just want to eat a
So
raw
good.
steak. Rob, that really
Toss
got
me to me.
But yeah, overall, I think we both really enjoyed it. I've seen a lot of people saying it's their top 3. I would definitely put it in my top 5, but probably not edged out into my top 3.
I have to think, like, I'd really have to go through all of them and think hard. I think top 3 depends on whether we're counting Batman, Mask of the Phantasm, an animated movie. If we're only going live action, it might end up in the top 3.
Okay.
It's really rough, but it's definitely in my top 5.
Yeah, if you are a fan of Batman, I think you will like it. Don't let the 3-hour limit or the 3-hour runtime push you away.
If you're a fan of the comic, or I should say the graphic novels, like post 1980s, it's really up your alley. Like, it's the closest I've seen outside of Batman the Animated Series to the Batman comic ever. I mean, it looks like a graphic novel come to life.
Yeah. Devox, thank you so much for gifting those 3 subs. We super appreciate that. Thank you so much. Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. In the Obi-Wan series, do you think we'll cover any PTSD Obi might have?
No, I think we'll just have backdoor pilots to 5 other series.
You're not wrong, especially since they're introducing Inquisitors. If we get a spinoff for every single one of those Inquisitors,
my wife and I had a disagreement because we sat there, watched the trailer together, and she just goes, well, that looks like it could be really good. And I was just sitting there like, I got a bad feeling about this.
I think it could be so good, though.
I'm kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm watching Clone Wars right now. I'm trying to finally finish up all that, and I'm just like, why don't they just go animated with all these? You'd have the exact same damn budget. In fact, you can make the animation look even way better than they did back then. You can tell these stories, and you don't have to worry about CGI Luke or what happens if we can't get this character or that. I loved Mandalorian because it was away from the rest of the universe. When they brought in Baby Yoda, I was just like, well, okay, it doesn't mean it's going to connect everything. And then slowly it started happening, and I'm like, no. I would just love to get away from like this same set group of characters. So we'll see.
I know, guys. Thank you for the 50 bits. Rob, have you met Scott the Woz?
No. I enjoy his work. I've seen a ton of his videos. I've never actually met him. I didn't even, cause I don't know how long he's been around, but I didn't start watching his stuff probably till about 3 years ago.
Okay.
So, I didn't watch a lot of gaming stuff really till about 3 or 4 years ago.
Chorus, thank you for the 50 bits. Greetings from Poland. Only a few hundred kilometers from the war. Whole stations full of people from Ukraine. Long live Ukraine. Screw you know who. His name starts with a P and ends with an N. I mean, I'm pretty sure we can all decisively say screw Putin without anything bad happening to us right now.
Fuck that
guy. Yep. With our whole chest, we can say that.
And I've said that I'm so glad I'm a nobody because I don't get like an umbrella with a poison pellet in the ass. So, but
Hmm.
yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Well, stay safe, Chorus. Sailor Aaron, thank you for the 150 bits. Righteous Rob, how you doing? Have you finished the anime I recommended to you now and then here and there yet? If you have, what are your thoughts? I really hoped you like it. It's one of my favorite underrated animes.
Oh my god. I like people I've been watching it with and me almost lost our shit. When she's in the doctor and the doctor says, "Here, can I talk to you for a second?" I sat there and I'm just like, "She's pregnant. Watch." And he's like, "She's pregnant." I was like, "Oh." And then that whole scene with the rock and him like this anime is messed up. Um I'll say this could be the dub. In fact, I'm guarantee it's almost the dub. I hate what's his face, the main character. When he's trying to talk her out of it, he's like, "No, no, everything will be all right. It'll be fine." Like in that dub, I'm like, I really want to kill this guy so bad. Like, and particularly, I was like, this is the only decision this poor girl may be able to make on her own. And even then, it's like, gotta have some dude like butting himself in. So it's a rough watch. Um, and yeah, I so want to see it in the Japanese original because I feel like it would be way better. I think it's good, but the dub is definitely. I feel like I'm losing something. So, but yes, it's good. It's fucked in the head, but it's good.
Zelmiran, thank you for the 50 bits. Does Doug choose what NC videos to do, or do both of you have to come to some agreement before you both sit down, watch the movie, and write the review together?
Uh Doug picks the list from which we get to choose from. And then there's other things, just like, we decided, well, let's do a Batman month because we had the Batman coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So, you always want that kind of synergy. And like, we love those movies. So I've been wanting to do them for a while. It's like when that was a good time. I only get to say when it comes down to like, well, it's this shitty movie or this shitty movie. Which would you prefer to actually sit through? And then I'll pick one.
I know, guys, thank you for the 50 bits. How do you feel about the Kenobi trailer? To me, it looks amazing, and I'm not even a Star Wars megamaniac.
I'll reserve judgment. I didn't see enough. So I don't like the Inquisitors. Like, okay, that's a cool, but I don't know. As I said, I was liking the concept of Star Wars getting away from the characters. That's why I liked the Mandalorian initially. So we'll
But
see. I'm not saying I'm gonna hate it. I have reservations.
I'm excited. I got really pumped watching that trailer. I am also excited to see Hayden Christensen come back and just be able to hit that role out of the park. Hopefully, you know.
That will be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be interested to see Ewan McGregor's performance because he was the only good thing in the prequels. And even then, I thought he was a little kind of stilted and weird. So I'll be very curious to see, like, with a director who knows what he or she is doing, how the acting might improve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Cameron, thank you for the 50 bits. Hi, Heather and Rob. Who is your favorite Batman actor? My personal favorite is Christian Bale.
Are we talking Batman or Bruce Wayne?
They said Batman.
Uh, Michael Keaton and Robert Pattinson.
I still love Christian Bale so much, but you know what? It's hard for me to separate because I love Christian Bale in general.
He is not my least favorite Batman, but he's very much in the middle.
Okay.
That voice is just bad.
Well, and it gets worse throughout the whole series,
Yeah.
and I will give you that 100%. By Dark Knight Rises, he's like,
I don't get any Keaton and I'll say this about Pattinson. I think Pattinson too is why I like both of them. They knew how to act through that armor and that mask in a way that I found interesting to watch. I never got that out of Bale. He has the same like kind of open mouth, like he's a dead carp, like and then his eyes are kind of dead, and then he just talks like this. And it never did for me. I love his Bruce Wayne.
mm-hmm.
Like I think Bale's Bruce Wayne is great, but his Batman didn't do it for me, which is funny because Robert Pattinson, I hate his Bruce Wayne, but I think he's one of the best Batman I've ever seen.
And I would totally agree with that. Kermit Wazowski, thank you for the 50 bits. This is in caps, so I'm going to be very enthusiastic about it. Super important, burning question. How's Ellie?
Oh, she's fine. had some had some behavioral issues that I guess kick in with rescue dogs sometimes many months after you get them. So we're working on that, but she's good. She's asleep down on the couch.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, that's her MO, except when we leave and she decides to tear up the place.
No.
Yeah.
Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. Rob, have you thought about doing a fanscription about Joseph Gordon-Levitt being Batman after Christian Bale Batman retires?
No. I didn't hate Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that movie, but I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, I don't know what I would do with it. And I'm not sure I care.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, maybe it's something Walter would like to try. I could bring that up to him and see what he would want to do with it. So, but The Dark Knight Rises I wasn't a huge fan of that movie anyway. So,
That Disney nerd, thank you for the 100 bits. Have the early reviews about Turning Red made you any more nervous about the film? Some see it as one of Pixar's most mature stories. Others see it as Pixar's horniest film. Yeah, the reviews have been all over the place.
I don't have a problem if it's one of Pixar's horniest films. I watch anime, so that's not gonna be a problem for me. Most of the reviews I've seen are like pretty positive. So I'll say this: like the trailer did nothing for me, the initial trailer, and all the reviews have like got me more interested. So I'm definitely more interested in seeing it.
Same. Hewlett fan, thank you for the 50 bits. Great to see you guys today. Rob, I got a big question. What is the most divided you and Doug have ever been on a movie? Like where you thought it was a 10 and he thought it was a 1, or the other way around. What gets you guys arguing, really fighting?
God, I'm trying to think. Ghostbusters Afterlife was a big one. Like we argued, though Doug kind of like dodges the argument a bit just by saying like, well, I can see that. It just leaves it there, but I liked it. Like, all right, Eyes Wide Shut. It was always a big one. I love Stanley Kubrick, but I've never liked that movie. But I'd say the most recent one was definitely Ghostbusters Afterlife, because none of that worked for me. Really, none of it. And Doug just like bought it hook, line, and sinker, and is like, but the feels and the nostalgia and like an island. I was just like, no. And like we've argued about it, like Super Bowl, we were arguing about it outside, like still. So that would be a big one.
Zelmiran, thank you for the 50 bits. Why don't you and Doug do first viewings and real thoughts anymore?
They take time, and that's kind of up to Doug. With other stuff he's doing and now the streaming, he's just very busy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think some of it is he doesn't want to edit it. But yeah, you'd have to ask Doug. I wouldn't mind doing real thoughts. I actually don't like the first viewings just because I prefer to just sit back and just shout jokes and not be on camera.
Yeah.
So I get too self-conscious, and I feel like it probably like messes up my ability to throw some jokes out there. So because it is a free-for-all.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have to think really hard about it, it's like when the MST3K guys came in the other night and I knew we were being watched, and all of a sudden I felt like my joke quality went down. Right? I was like, because now I'm overthinking it.
Right.
I'm like, well, how is this gonna play? Like, so.
Totally.
But yeah, you have to ask Doug. I mean, he might. I don't know.
Devox, thank you for the 50 bits. Does it seem like DC is finally making some good movies? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've been making some good movies for a while. It's just
right.
They're
the Snyderverse was really what people had an issue with, if that makes sense.
Here's the interesting thing about DC, and the difference between DC and Marvel is Marvel will consistently put out better movies, but in my opinion, so few of them are ever great.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas DC will throw whatever they can, and some of it will be hot, stinking garbage. but then you'll get a Joker or the Batman. And
The
it'll be
Suicide Squad was
yeah,
great.
The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, yeah, the Suicide Squad, and it's just like, well, this is 1,000 times more interesting than 90% of whatever I see come out of Marvel. That's the difference. But to get that, you have to. It's like panning for gold. You got to sift through all that shit to find the gold nugget.
Mhm.
Whereas with Marvel, you're always getting something like fool's gold, where it's like, well, I could sell this at a much cheaper price or something, but it's just not as good. But there's a lot of it, so
Yeah. Well, and I think the good thing that sorry, I'm trying to focus my thoughts here. So DC, I feel like really floundered when they were just trying to quote unquote catch up
copy
to Marvel. But when they thrive is just doing these Elseworld type stories that don't all have to connect. Like, you don't have to tonally rectify that the Batman is in the same universe as Shazam, because they're not. So Shazam can be Shazam and the Batman can be the Batman. You know?
I would watch that movie, admittedly.
So
I'd love to see Robert Pattinson's Batman and Shazam occupying the same frame.
Right. It would be hilarious to see them try to do that. But the point is that, like, they have these different universes, so it doesn't matter. Like, they can try something different with the Suicide Squad and not have it impact what they're doing with Joker.
Marvel's stuck. And I think we see that now, like how it's a great way to consistently put out a decent product, but also how it traps you.
Mhm.
Because really post Infinity War, there hasn't been that much that's interesting. I mean, even the things where they really went out there, like WandaVision, like, to me, were kind of half fails in the way it's like, oh, it seems like a great idea at first. It's like, oh, and then it ends like any other Marvel project. So they do trap themselves that way, and that is an interesting difference between the two. Whereas DC, it's just like they don't trap themselves. They may throw out a steaming pile of shit, but they'll also throw out something amazing.
Mm-hmm. Right. Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. Heather, I personally think the Pokemon starters of Scarlet and Violet are meh. We already have plenty of duck Pokemon. The fire type looks like an apple, and the grass cat is decent but doesn't wow me. Yeah, controversial opinion. I don't think I'd choose the grass cat. The grass cat is cute, but I love the duck. That's so me too, to like the water type starter. But the fact that he's described as a diligent duck just really gets me. I want to have that diligent duck be my best friend.
I like the yellow one that shoots lightning.
Good for you. Good for you, Rob.
Pika. He's a detective too. I didn't know that.
He's a detective. He is. Wow. Good job. Good job.
I'm hip. I'm with it.
But yeah, I think I'm going to end up choosing the water type or the fire type because the grass cat is cute, but also maybe it's just because I don't have a lot of experience like training grass types. I don't know what I do with that cat just because it's cute. So there you go. Alan, thank you for the 50 bits. Hey Rob, do you think you could do a fanscription to fix the Pirates of the Caribbean sequels? Because I really love that first movie.
Might be one for Walter. I have no ideas. I honestly just thought I was fine with the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kept going. I thought the second one was okay. There were moments in it that were really funny. I do like Davy Jones was a cool design. But overall, that's where it started showing already, where I just remember sitting in the movie going like, man, this movie's long. And the third one, like, just, that just wouldn't end. It's rare I just sit in a movie where I'm just like, oh my God, I feel like I'm losing time. Time's going backwards. The Eternals was like that. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, I took a sip of beer right as you said that, and it was not a good time to take a sip of beer. Cypher, thank you for the 100 bits. Seconding more fanscription.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So somebody I think in like a Reddit was asking, the idea this year was to put out 3 giant fanscriptions because Walter is super busy. He's got a lot of life stuff going on. And those 3 big ones were going to be like the Batman Forever one we did, which was like, an hour and a half, 2 hours or something. And it was a full movie. I'm working on Batman and Robin now. In theory, that should be out for Batman, but there's a lot of stuff going on in Walter's universe where we may have to delay that. So I
Mhm.
don't know what the full story with Fanscription is going to be, but he handed me Batman and Robin with a long laundry list of notes. He's like, make sure it has all these things in it. And I told him, I'm like, you do this. It's a 3-hour movie. It's going to be like the Batman. He's like, that's fine. It's the finale to what we've been doing. So I'm handing him a 3-hour movie. So we'll see where that goes. But in theory, that's supposed to be out in May. But that's what we've got going on. It's just going to be less fanscriptions this year, but they'll be big. They
Mhm.
should be of the quality of Batman Forever.
Right. Right. Which, yeah, well, we'll see what works out, but I think people really enjoy those longer ones. So. Zelmiran, thank you for the 50 bits. Have you seen Smiling Friends at all? Are you aware it's made by Zach Hadel from Oni Plays?
No and
No.
no, but what I've
Cool.
seen of Oni Plays, I've enjoyed, so I'll have to check it out.
Mm-hmm. That Disney nerd, thank you for the 100 bits. Do you think Battinson could take Bale's Batman in a fight? Or would both their prep time make both of them impossible to beat?
If it's a straight up fist fight, I'd probably say Bale. I feel like Robert Pattinson's Batman kind of like operates more like on like, I don't want to say trickery, but like that scene in the new Batman movie where he fights quote unquote in the dark and you just see the flashes. That's how I associate this Batman. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more. He reminds me, that's why maybe I like him. He reminds me of Michael Keaton. And Michael Keaton, what I love about him is he's playing essentially a nerd. Like Michael Keaton's a bit of a dork
Mm.
in the movie. Like I always love it when he's wearing glasses and you're just like, oh, he just looks like some guy. So I feel like he'd use a little more trickery and stuff. It's so funny because they say that in Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. Oh, I got to use all this, but so much, particularly as it goes on into the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, just like I was gonna use my fists, and it's just kind of like a kung fu thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
so,
Yeah, makes sense. Alexander, thank you for the 50 bits. Hi, Rob. If you had to pick one Simpsons episode as your favorite, what would it be? For me, it's probably Who Shot Mr. Burns?
it's like a small list of like the one where Bart jumps the canyon. Is really funny early one. The one where Bart almost has to repeat the fourth grade. The one where the monorail, and then I think Homer becoming the astronaut might be my absolute favorite. Um, just because it's got so many of my favorite lines. You know, all hail our ant overlords, and you know, careful, they're ruffled. Um, and I really do like what was it, 22 Stories from Springfield? That was another just absolutely brilliant one.
Mm-hmm. Hewlett fan, thank you for the 50 bits. Were you guys fans of Game of Thrones? And if so, how do you feel about the ending even now? Did it break the show for you?
Doug was a bigger fan than me. I got the hype kind of killed it for me. I had friends telling me it's like, oh, nobody's safe. You'll never guess. And like, I think by the end of season 2, I'm like, I'm gonna guarantee these 4 or 5 characters make it to the end. I was correct, by the way. Even when they tried to kill one off, and I'm like, there are zombies in this show. I don't believe this for a second. Um, I can say this as somebody who ducked in and out of it, the writing quality definitely just fell off a cliff in the last 2 seasons. And that last season was a shit show. And I still look back on that ending and everything that happened. I'm like, yeah, it's a shit show. It has nothing to do with the decision to make a certain character in the end a villain. But the way it just was like flipping a switch, I'm like, where was the setup for any of this? And people are like, well, there was a line here and a line there. I'm like, yeah, but that went from 0 to Hitler very fast. Like there was no build up. So I think it's a really bad finale.
JCM film student, thank you for the 50 bits. Pattinson's Bruce Wayne reminds me of Keaton's a reclusive millionaire. I love Bruce's arc in this film as to what Batman should inspire for Gotham. Without being spoilery, though, it's just he's too much of a blank canvas. Pattinson's Bruce Wayne is nothing.
There's no personality. All of his personality comes out in just the way he looks and dresses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get any of it in the acting. I'm not blaming him necessarily because I don't know if that was the director also saying like, no, pull back or whatever it is. But Keaton's whenever I look at Keaton, I get this concept that there's way more going on in his head than he's letting on. And I
Mm-hmm.
never got that out of Pattinson's Bruce Wayne. Hilariously, I got it out of his Batman. He
Right.
somehow acts through that scene where it's like, oh, I can see the wheels turning.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this was a conscious decision. We're like, well, we're just going to make his Bruce Wayne just this blank slate, like what some people think Batman is, and
Mm-hmm.
reverse it. But I just didn't find it compelling to watch. Whenever it was in the Bruce Wayne side of the story, like only when he's looking at that kid. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm saying. But when he looks at that kid like 2 or 3 times in the movie, and that connection that's forged without saying anything, do I see the acting really coming out? Otherwise, it just looks like emo Peter Parker on like Prozac or something. It's just very sedated.
Mm-hmm. DCL Coda, thank you for the 50 bits. So, Heather, West Side Story has been streaming for a week now. Have you seen it, and what are your thoughts? Also, have we delved any more into the expanded lore of Dr. John the Penis Kid, renowned urologist and drunk dentist? We have not delved more into the insanity from Tuesday night.
We need to bury that episode and make sure it's never seen by anybody.
And yes, oh my gosh, I saw the new West Side Story, and I loved it so much. I knew I would. After everyone told me how great it was, yeah, everyone I knew was like, oh, Heather, you're going to love it. But I still did go into it thinking, okay, maybe I won't. Let's not go into it already assuming. I cried multiple times. My God, I loved the heck out of it.
I laughed, I cried, I kissed $10 goodbye.
Pat and Soa, thank you for the 50 bits. Howdy there, channel awesome peeps. Sorry I missed it, but where did Doug go on vacay? Also, gotta ask Rob what he graded the Batman. Well, I think you can watch Doug's The Batman review right now on YouTube if you would like
Considering he's put it in his top 3, I'm gonna assume like an A.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I guess I can say. I don't think
Yeah,
it's a secret. He went to
he's
Hawaii.
not there anymore.
Yeah, he's not there anymore. So yeah, he went to Hawaii.
Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. With all these DC Elseworld movies, I would love to see Chris O'Donnell as a grown Nightwing. I was never bothered with his portrayal as Robin. What do you think? That could be cool.
My only complaint about Chris O'Donnell is they decided to make him like the orphan boy, where he's clearly like 25. Like whatever, I'm just like, you can leave whenever you want, buddy. Like you are legally of age. Other than that, I thought he did the best with what he had.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to have seen it. I think he's too old now.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd have to check his age, but I think he's getting up there.
Yeah. Zelmiran, thank you for the 50 bits. Are there any YouTubers you regularly watch?
A lot of history stuff. And I do watch James.
Yeah.
I watch James's stuff. I do enjoy Game Grumps. Occasionally, if it ends up in the algorithm, I'll throw on an Oni Plays.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly, there was like a best of Channel Awesome collection. I was like, oh, I gotta check this out. It was pretty fucking funny.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think, what else do I watch?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us, we watch, like you were saying, our friends. Like, we watch James, I watch Andre's videos. But a lot of us probably watch...
Oh, yeah, Andre.
A lot of us probably watch things that are separate from, like, what we do for work. Like, I watch a lot of random, like, beauty and lifestyle type YouTubers, like Simply Nailogical and Safia Nygaard and Brad Mondo, which, like, you wouldn't necessarily know that I'm into that kind of stuff. But, I don't always want to watch people doing the exact same thing that we do.
I watch a lot of history stuff because I'm just infinitely curious about the world.
Mm-hmm.
So there is oh God, what was his name? He does like historical comparisons with movies. He did Midway, like Pearl Harbor and all those, The Last Samurai. Doug we almost did a crossover with him, but like he posts so infrequently, just the schedule wasn't working out. But he was really good. Is it History Buffs? Yeah, I think it's History Buffs.
Cool.
Yeah, he's really good. So I watch him too.
That Disney nerd, thank you for the 100 bits. How about every Thursday, instead of Doug, you just replace him with John the Penis Kid?
Yeah,
Good.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, Cosmonaut Variety Hour. He's actually one of my favorites.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, very entertaining guy. Just does a lot. He does kind of Misty style stuff, but he also does his own reviews. And I don't even agree with half of his like reviews, but he delivers it in such a great, like, entertaining way that I'm just like, oh, you know what? I could see that. Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Oh, yeah, Kermit Wazowski. I think
Oh, and
all of us
Defunct.
watched Defunct Land.
Yeah, Defunct Land. Definitely Defunct Land. And there's like Expedition Theme Park's another one I watch. There's like a number of those I watch.
Mm-hmm. Cameron Blythe, thank you for the 50 bits. So in a few weeks, we're getting the Kingdom Hearts 20th anniversary event. What are you hoping for, Heather? Kingdom Hearts 4 or a series? I mean, there's been a lot of talk around a series, like an anime series or even some kind of live action series on Netflix. I'd rather see an anime series than Netflix attempting to live action another anime type property.
Kingdom Hearts, the live ice show.
The live ice show. That actually would not be bad with some of the music and stuff. I don't know if we're going to get another mainline like Kingdom Hearts 4. If we are, I don't know if they'll like call it Kingdom Hearts 4, if that makes sense, because I think they're done with like Sora's story, especially with what they teased at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. But I don't know if we'll get another mainline Kingdom Hearts announcement this week or this year.
So Zelmarin 1167. Yeah, Guru Larry. I thought that would be cheating because like I watch Brad all the time too, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna mention the ones that are with us.
Sailor Aaron, thank you for the 200 bits. Who is your top 3 favorite Alfred Pennyworths? Burton's Alfred, Batman the Animated Series Alfred, the Dark Knight trilogy Alfred, the Batman Alfred, etc. I know there's more, but I don't want to write a whole novel of questions. I love Michael Caine.
Michael Caine got wrecked for me because of Dark Knight Rises, where all of a sudden none of it made sense. But I did like him in the first two.
Mm-hmm.
And for Gotham's sake. I love that. And then the third one, he's like, you can't go back out there. I'm leaving. I was like, what? I really I like Alfred in the Burton one because particularly in the early ones, it's very clear he's uncomfortable with this, and his whole philosophy is like, "Sir, if we could just get you laid, perhaps you wouldn't go running out dressed as a bat every night and pummeling people." Like I love how he's so pushing him into dating Vicky Vale. Definitely the animated series one is one of my favorites. Doug and I just watched Mask of the Phantasm. I just remember saying, wow, he's such a catty bitch. I love it. Like he's got like all these great little one-liners.
Mm-hmm.
I really did like blanking on his name, Gollum, in this latest one.
Oh, yeah.
He was really good. I did really like Jeremy Irons. My problem with them though is there's no setup for them. Like we did get set up for Michael Caine and Alfred Goes a bit. Like this one, it's like we're so early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe it's Michael Caine. But if there's more of the Batman movies, then thank you, Andy Serkis.
I wasn't gonna interrupt you to say that.
My brain freezes. Yeah, Andy. Like if we get more of this series, it might end up being Andy Serkis. I actually really like his interpretation's a little more probably what I would have wanted out of Michael Caine for somebody who says he's like in the Burmese jungle hunting people who are stealing blood diamonds. I'm like, I'd believe that with Andy Serkis. Like Michael Caine's a little too gentleman for that. But yeah, no, generally they're all pretty good though.
Gary Turbo, thank you for the 55 bits. Can we all agree to this? Paul Dano is the best Riddler because he reminds me of those weirdos NBC uses on Dateline. He definitely had big Zodiac killer vibes, which I think is what they were going for.
He had big, like, To Catch a Predator vibes.
Yeah.
He just had bad vibes all around, yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I thought he was pretty good. That's the problem with the Riddler. It's like we're just stuck with Jim Carrey, and I did like Gorshin back in the 60s TV series, but like that's its own thing.
Mm-hmm. Alan, thank you for the 50 bits. Hey, Rob and Heather, I know y'all saw the Obi-Wan trailer, but did y'all see the picture of Tom Hanks in Pinocchio? And if so, thoughts? I was just looking at an article, but I didn't actually look at the pictures about that. But I don't know what is up with like this year and all these Pinocchio things being made.
I did not, but I did see him playing the Colonel in this Baz Luhrmann Elvis movie, and I lost my shit.
Oh, yeah.
Doug and I
Mhm.
howled, and I'm
Mhm.
just like, oh my God, this is so bad. It's Doug put it, it's like, there's Hanks again doing another one of his accents.
Queen Calificent, thank you for the 50 bits. What's your opinion on The Mandalorian?
I adore the first season.
Mhm.
I thought the second season was okay. I didn't like the finale. I did like episode 1 of Mandalorian 2.5. And then when they brought back that person from the end of the season 2 finale, again, I was just like, oh, Christ. So I loved it at the start. I'm just worried that it's just turning into like, how do we shove the original trilogy back into this?
Mhm. Yeah. Alexander, thank you for the 50 bits. Hi, Rob. My two favorite first viewing moments ever were your rant in the Angry Birds movie and Doug forcing you to watch the Porky Pig rap. Both of those were hysterical. Just wanted to acknowledge that.
Porky Pig rap was so bad. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I'm like, how did this come out just a couple of years ago?
Yep.
This looks like something that would have been released in 1998.
Mm-hmm. Ulip fan, thank you for the 100 bits. Heather, did you ever have any crushes on actors or characters as a teen? Also, what's your biggest musical guilty pleasure? Call me basic, but I love Bruno Mars and his new album with Silk Sonic. Listen to it, it's incredible. Oh, I wouldn't call Bruno Mars a guilty pleasure. He's pretty good.
Is to Bruno Mars the gay? There's like a Game Grumps bit where there was like some fake article that Danny was reading. Never for the hell is that title? But it was like it was like bad English.
Oh,
And it was
really?
meant just for clickbait. And it was something like, is the Bruno Mars the gay? The people who do want to know. And it was like, and he reads the whole article and it's just insane.
Nice.
Does
nice.
does Bruno Mars is gay? Thanks, Turtle Power. That was it. Does
Thanks,
Bruno
chat.
Mars is gay?
I would say my biggest musical guilty pleasure though is Taylor Swift. Any era Taylor Swift, gosh darn it, I'll belt that out. Will I see her in concert? No. But man, Taylor Swift. Such good pop trash. And of course I had crushes on actors as a kid and a teen. Who didn't? I more as a teen had more anime crushes because that was my big anime bad boy phase. But I've loved Christian Bale since he was in Newsies.
Oh God! Santa Fe.
I was in love with Newsies in like 8th grade.
Newsies thing. My wife and my sister-in-law are the same way. Like, did you have to be the right age when that movie came out?
I think so. I don't know. I loved Newsies, and part of it was Christian Bale.
It rang something there.
He would just like sing Santa Fe and I'd be like, oh God. But then it was great because I dated a guy in high school who was like a big cinephile, and he was like, oh, you love Christian Bale, do you? Let's watch American Psycho. And I was like, yay, Newsies Christian. Oh no.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, what's this? But I was still like, what is this? Why do I love it but also hate it? But woo.
That's how I knew he was probably going to be good in Batman. I kept thinking of American Psycho, and I'm like, yeah, I could see this. And I like how I feel like sometimes he plays the fake Bruce Wayne part, like the over-the-top part, kind of like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. What if Matt Reeves' Batman universe builds to a live-action version of the Arkham games, having the ending spoiler character as a looming threat like Thanos? He's building an army of villains Batman is putting away just to take over Gotham.
Okay, so that teaser near the end.
I didn't
like that. That's the only
it.
thing in the movie that I'm like, I have issues here or there with the movie. I'm like, I said his Bruce Wayne isn't it, but I don't actively hate his Bruce. That was the only scene in the movie of 3 hours, I'm like, I actively hate this.
Yeah, and no spoilers in chat.
Can we like just do something different?
Yeah.
That's what I enjoy. You want to know what like makes this movie good is that overall it's doing something different. But it's like Warner Brothers can help themselves. It's just like Disney.
Yeah.
Same problem I have with Star Wars is like, oh, you're doing something different? Cool. How can we tie it together with all these other things? 'Cause money, nostalgia.
Gary Turbo, thank you for the 50 bits. There's a weird game on Xbox where all the characters are dressed like strippers called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And since it looks like an anime, can you guys clarify the plot of the story and these strange looking characters?
The story is simply this. It was me, Lord Dio, all along. JoJo.
I haven't even seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Honestly, once you've said the title, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you've simply explained it all. It is a multi-generational, ambiguously gay romp with action and adventure and globetrotting, and I can't even begin to describe it.
You just got to experience it from what I've heard.
You have to experience it. And the funny thing is, I'm not even a giant fan of it, but when people are like, oh, it's my favorite anime ever, I get why. Like, it's not, yeah, ambiguously, I'm sorry. It's just gay romp. It's not really always my thing, but like people who say it's their favorite anime, I totally get it. 'Cause it's so crazy. I'll say this, watch the intro and the outro to like the first few seasons, and I'll probably tell you if you're going to enjoy it or not.
Yeah. Pat and Soa, thank you for the 50 bits. I remember listening to the CinemaSins podcast review of Rogue One back in the day, and Jeremy literally said they are going to make a Luke origin movie just to show him bullseyeing womp rats. I have a really bad feeling he's gonna be right.
Oh, it'll happen. I swear, that's gonna happen. They're gonna have a womp rat, and Luke is gonna be like little teenage Luke with a CGI Mark Hamill face is gonna be bullseyeing, and it's like, haha, I bullseyed the womp rat. Now I gotta go work on the moisture evaporators.
Sorry, I love chat with all the JoJo memes, but then also Kurt Wazowski, the rumor come out, does ambiguously is gay? I love it.
Does JoJo is gay?
I love it. Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. Do you think the Batman warehouse fight scene in BVS set the bar high for live action Batman fights in movies moving forward?
Which fight scene?
The warehouse fight in Batman v Superman? I'm not even...
Considering I don't remember it, I'm going to say probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight may have set a precedent before that.
The Dark Knight's the one that set the precedent. Where it's just, like, big stunt, Batman punching things, great cinematography. I honestly don't think BVS set anything up that people, like, directors and stuff are like, oh, I'm going to make it like that. Like, I don't hate every Snyder project ever. There's actually a lot of stuff he does that I like, but I think those scenes, like, yeah, and the only thing people remember from that movie is Martha. How do you know that name? Like, it's just silly.
Sorry, excuse me. Gary Turbo, thank you for the 50 bits. EA just put "there's no such thing as a coincidence" guy on Apex Legends. EA just put "there's no such thing as coincidence" guy. I'm sure it's a reference to something, because "there's no such thing as coincidence" is in quotations. I'm sorry, Gary Turbo, I don't know if I understand, because the latest legend in Apex is Maggie, and it's a female. But look it up. All right, I will have to do that, because Tamara and I love playing Apex Legends. Big Jack Films, thank you for the 15 months. Hey, a stream, with just Rob and Heather. Now we can have a whole anime talk about Inuyasha without Doug being like, the hell are you talking about?
Inuyasha, Kagome, Inuyasha, Kagome, Inuyasha, Kagome.
I will...
Shippo!
Shippo, the little Shippo there.
And of course, Kagura.
I have not watched the new series. I've heard good things about it. But I don't know. After
I sat
the
through
end of the series,
yeah. After that, I sat through all of that. I'm like, I don't know if I can do it again.
I
I just
literally
don't
almost
know.
broke my TV. Like I threw my shoe at the TV.
Do
I
they
was
pronounce do
so
they
bad.
pronounce their names right in the new one, in the new dub, or is it still Kagome? Pretty sure it's supposed to be Kagome.
I don't know, man. I mean, I've heard good things about Yashahime, but it burned me so bad. Because there's also that the series that actually ends it too after the initial series, right?
Yeah, I
The
think
newer
so.
one, but I didn't watch any of it.
It's been so long. The last time I watched Inuyasha, I had a live journal. Because one of my live journal icons was Naroku, the monk with like this red handprint on his face, like he just got slapped. He's just looking like, ugh. So
Oh my gosh, that really got me. I had a live journal. Yep. I feel that. I feel that just from the inside.
like it, it was probably like the last time I saw it was 2 years after we started this company.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. I was in college when we watched the very end of the series. So, yeah, I don't know. Dillbomb, thank you for the 50 bits. Hey, Rob, it's great to see you again. What's your favorite non-Batman Christopher Nolan film?
Ah, Memento's really, really good. Um, I really, really, really liked Dunkirk. I like it on IMAX. I've never actually seen it on the small screen. IMAX, I thought it was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And God, what's trying to think of the other? There was one more in that
Inception?
list. I'm not a giant fan.
The
I liked it better.
Prestige?
Yes, I really liked the Prestige. David Bowie is Tesla. I mean, how can you go wrong?
I was gonna say I
That
love.
ending is so dark, so dark.
Mm-hmm.
No, Inception. I liked it better when it was Paprika.
Yeah, all right, that's fair. Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. I get annoyed when directors of comic book movies say they want a grounded take on a character. I think it's been done to death. Embrace it's a comic book character and have some fun with it. The Fast and the Furious films are never grounded. Give us Clayface, Poison Ivy, Man-Bat. I mean, I think they kind of do that with, like, Shazam.
Yeah, I think definitely Shazam.
Aquaman can kind of get that feel to it
Oh,
sometimes.
absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're doing. We may see what happens with the Flash.
That's
I'm
true.
hoping that movie has a fun sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I see it both ways. Where I'm like, it's fun to see a more grounded take. That's what I really enjoyed about the Dark Knight. I like it was just kind of like Heat crossed with a Batman movie. I but I also like way over the top. Like I love Tim Burton's version. This one to me was a really good synthesis of like it's Tim Burton's Batman if you made it really faithful to the comics. So it's very dark and nitty and gritty, but it's also like very much in that kind of comic booky world. Like, and I think the new one, it's funny if you want a good use of color, because I hate the later Harry Potter films for how green and ugly and gray and desaturated they are. Look at how this movie does it. This movie's very gritty and dark and manages to still have a lot of color in it, including
Mm-hmm.
green.
Yeah.
So I can see it both ways.
Yeah. Zelmiran, thank you for the 50 bits. Do you play a lot of video games? What's your preference? PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, PC?
I don't game as much as I'd like, but I have a PS5,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a I was gonna say Switch.
Switch.
And yeah, I enjoyed like Zelda,
Mm-hmm.
Metroid Dread.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I'm playing through Horizon Zero Dawn
Yeah.
Part 2.
The Forbidden West, yes.
Forbidden Boogaloo.
TDI Charlie Brown, thank you for the 50 bits. Has there ever been a plan for Rob to be the nostalgia critic, like for an April Fool's Day episode or something?
We've talked about it. I think at this stage in the game, it's going to be our, like, when we decide to retire, it's going to be our last year. And I'm going to do it. And it's going to be sad and pathetic, and we're going to have gray beards, and it's going to be hilariously awful.
Amazing. Can't wait. Hewlett fan, thank you for the 50 bits. Do you agree with Doug's controversial opinion on Christian Bale's Batman? His weird gravelly delivery, I admit, is a bit jarring, but you'd lurk argue that's the point. He's Batman and puts on a voice to intimidate people. Also, who is your favorite Joker? Heath Ledger is common, but I don't think you can do better than Mark Hamill. A perfect balance between funny and evil. Also, the Batman animated series is the best Batman media, no argument.
Yeah, my favorite's Mark Hamill.
Love Mark Hamill.
I don't think Doug's opinion on that is that controversial. I hear people complain about Bale's Batman voice all the time.
Yeah.
It's not 100%. Like, I'd say that maybe it's a 60-40 split on people who like it, but like it was a common criticism even in the reviews at the time. It's just kind of silly. Like, so I agree with him. I like it in Dark Knight most, even though it is so shouty. The one where it's the worst, I think, is Batman Begins. I mean, he's got this weird like voice. He's talking like, how would I do that counts? And I was like, oh, no.
Sailor Aaron, thank you for the 150 bits. Oh, Rob, if you go on eBay, there's a complete collection of Now and Then for like $35, and it's like new. It has both languages.
I'll look into it. I don't know how to sit through this. This is turning into Grave of the Fireflies, which is like one of the greatest movies ever, but it's not like I enjoy watching it.
It's true. Pat and Soa, thank you for the 50 bits. Is there going to be a fanscription coming soon? I still find myself thinking back to the Batman Forever one last year, and I'm really looking forward to the next one.
Hopefully. Walter's got a lot of stuff going on, but the plan, don't hold us to this. This is subject to change. The plan is to do Batman and Robin for Batmay, and it will be massive. Because I'm writing the script, and I can tell you it's going to be like hour and a half at least long one. So, like, here's hoping.
Gary Turbo, thank you for the 50 bits. Funny thing about the Batmobile, the director wanted it to be more a muscle car. He described it to be a Dodge Charger, but said that it had a 6-cylinder, 304 horsepower General Motors engine, so it's likely based on a Chevelle.
You know what? I laughed so hard because when I saw the trailer, I just thought, oh no, that's too silly. And then when it came out in the movie, I was just like revving up in my seat, like, yeah. So it sold me. And it's funny because it almost slightly kind of reminds me of like the 60s Batmobile, that kind of archaic like design and the little fins. But I'm like, that whole car chase, I'm like, this is amazing. So I'm sold on it.
Your Extra Joe, thank you for the 50 bits. Hello and greetings from Austin, Texas. I was confused when I saw the Twitch notification for 5 when these are usually at 6 until I remembered I'm in the Central Time now. Lol.
Welcome to Central.
Welcome to the
everything's
Central Time.
An hour off. And we all eat ranch dressing.
Zelmiran, thank you for the 50 bits. With the new Texas Chainsaw out on Netflix, have you and Doug thought about doing videos on the 2003 remake and its 2006 C/prequel?
I've never seen them. I've seen the original 2 Texas Chainsaw Massacres, and that's it. So it's probably a question for Doug, I guess.
Yeah. DCL Coda, thank you for the 50 bits. I do kind of love that they made a whole trailer for DC in 2022, and then half of it gets delayed for the next year. At least we still have Black Adam, Shazam 2, and Super Pets with frickin' Keanu Reeves as Batman.
Yeah. They did the whole Super Pets thing, and Doug and our eyes just looked at each other like, we're like, let us never speak of this again. Listen, if you're looking forward to it, great. It's probably not going to be my thing. Maybe I'm wrong, and it'll be like the Lego Movie, which I also thought like really, and it was really, really funny. So we'll see. But I'm just kind of like, eh.
I'm a little worried that the Flash has gotten delayed again.
I know, right?
Because like, again, it feels like they're trying to maybe play catch up to Marvel with that and be like, we're gonna have a multiverse too. It's like, just don't.
You don't need a multiverse.
Don't stop rewriting it.
You know what I fucking want? A fucking Flash story. The end. Like, I multiverses. It was like, tell me the Flash's story. There you go.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm a little worried about the Flash, but we'll see what happens. Mumrar, thank you for the 50 bits. How do you two feel about the possibility of Jones not voicing Vader in Obi-Wan? Some say his voice has aged out and doesn't sound the same, but I'd say if you get a replacement, you run into the same problem, a la the Muppets.
Sorry, can you reread the first part again?
There's a possibility that James Earl Jones is not going to voice Vader in the Obi-Wan show.
It's fine. He's getting old, guys.
He is. It's true.
At some point, he ain't gonna be here.
Yeah.
And the man's a living legend, and I will be very sad when that happens. But that's life. I'll say this: growing up, and I'm wondering if this is like the difference between like the generation under me and mine. Growing up, I had video games. I had all sorts of stuff that James Earl Jones didn't do the voice of Darth Vader. They had somebody do an impression. They ran it through the synthesizer, threw in the, and I was completely fine. So long as you get a good actor who can do a good impression, it's fine. I honestly thought like in Rogue One, that's where it started to show where I'm just like, and this happens just naturally. His voice can't do it anymore.
Right.
His voice is old. It's changed. And like, it's honestly to me was more distracting than anything. And I would rather he go out on a legend like that, go out on top. So I say, stop trying to make him and force him into these things and like find somebody to replace him.
Right. And start getting us used to it.
Yeah.
Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. There's so many great scenes in The Dark Knight, but I especially like the scene with Alfred telling Bruce about the bandit in Burma. To me, it's like he's telling Bruce to forget what Raish has taught him about the criminal mind, because neither he nor Bruce had to deal with this type of criminal.
Yeah, some people don't do it for money, glory. They just want to watch the world burn. I love that speech. Well, and it sets up way better, like the whole speech with Joker and Batman. It's like, you complete me. It's all right. But I thought that speech with Alfred summed everything up way better, where it's just like, you can't stop, like, this guy's outside of your realm of, forget what you know. I think even Ra's al Ghul, like, wouldn't have predicted fully kind of like a Joker, because he's always plans within plans. Like, this guy is so against the concept of like plans within plans in this, which is why the further it went on with the Joker, I was a little less into the like, I'm gonna prove a point and I've got all these plans to set up, 2 fairies that are gonna blow. But I thought it was a great scene. I thought that to me might be the core of the movie, is that speech, where he says that. And that's what I love most about that Joker, where he's just chaos. That, and the other scene I love most of all, actually 2 of them, is where he lights that pile of money on fire. And then when he shows up at Two-Faces and he's just like, spread a little chaos, and points the gun at himself. He's like, now you're talking. Like, that's where you're just like, this guy's fucking nuts. Like, and that's, how do you fight that? I thought that's what made that movie so compelling.
Yeah. Hewlett fan, thank you for the 50 bits. I know it's a bit nitpicky, but how does the continuity of DC's universe work now? Does Joaquin Phoenix Joker exist in the new Batman universe? Does it work? Does Jared Leto and the Suicide Squad live there too? No, they're all just separate. That's the thing. That's what I like. There is no continuity. They're all separate.
It's Doctor Who continuity. Continuity? What continuity?
Well, but it doesn't need to be. Like, if you've ever read any of some of these comics, like, they aren't always within continuity of each other. So yeah, the Suicide Squad, Jared Leto's Joker does not exist in the same world as Joaquin Phoenix's does, which does not exist in the same world as Robert Pattinson's Batman does.
You have a lot of comics that are one-offs.
Right, exactly.
Or a limited kind of set, and it's, like, don't just repeat to yourself, it's just a show. I should really just relax.
Yeah. Yeah. So it doesn't connect, which I don't mind. Go ahead. Everything doesn't need to connect. Zelmiran, thank you for the 50 bits. What bands are you into? What bands? Your music preference?
Oh, right now, not much. I just listen to the radio. I did really like, when I was in college, I loved System of a Down.
Okay.
And
good choice, man.
as an 80s kid, I love Oingo Boingo.
Mm-hmm.
So probably comes from my Burton love, because him and Danny Elfman. So
yeah,
I got into Boingo through that.
Yeah. I've always been an Evanescence fangirl. I love Amy Lee so much. I was a big like emo alternative kid in high school and college, so you know any of those like Evanescence, My Chemical Romance, Linkin Park.
much like Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne, a My Chemical Romance fan.
Yeah, so that was my jam. Sailor Aaron, thank you for the 250 bits. Do you both like the Kill Bill movies? To me, they are my all-time favorite Tarantino movies. Have you thought of doing a fanscription on what Kill Beatrix / The Bride Kill Bill 3 movie would look like?
I don't know where I'd go. I thought that movie ended just fine.
Mhm.
It's funny. I didn't like the quote unquote ending with how low key it was originally, and the
Mhm.
older I get, the more I actually am starting to really enjoy it.
Okay.
I think bringing Superman and comic books into it may have been the only point where I'm just like, oh come on, Quentin. But like that whole concept of how it ended, I'm kind of enjoying it more the older I get. I love those two movies. I don't know if they're my absolute because oh man, there's Pulp Fiction, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I really really loved Inglorious Bastards.
That was a great
But
one.
but if you want like God, the most entertaining, it's probably for the most entertaining for me personally. I'm gonna go with Pulp Fiction and the two Kill Bill movies.
Yeah, it's true. Godzilla fan, thank you for the 50 bits. Hello, Heavenly Heather and Rambunctious Rob. One has to go. Burgers, pizza, tacos, or wings? For me, I don't like beef, so I'm going to get rid of burgers. Plus, pizzas and tacos can be very versatile.
I'm gonna go with wings. I'm gonna have chicken in other forms.
All right. Noff Noff, thank you for the 100 bits. To Rob, I want to recommend you the Harvey Birdman Attorney at Law episode Back to the Present, where the Jetsons enlist Harvey to sue everyone for global warming caused the ice caps to melt and the Earth to become nothing but water.
I've seen that. That show's amazing. That was a great show.
Zelmurin, thank you for the 50 bits. Favorite Studio Gynax / Trigger productions? I mean, I love Evangelion.
I'd have to see the full list. Like Eva, like Skynex has been attached to so many things.
They have. I mean,
did Trigger do Gurren Lagann?
Yes, yeah, I love Gurren Lagann though too, and Kill la Kill.
Gorgeous looking, but Gurren Lagann, like I could watch that show a million times. That is one of the most fun anime I've ever sat through, and the animation is amazing. They did the in the Star Wars Visions. I think they had the twins one. It's like you could tell instantly that was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go Gurren Lagann probably.
Okay. That Disney nerd, thank you for the 100 bits. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? Robert Pattinson played a vampire 15 years ago. Skip ahead those 15 years, now he's a bat, thus proving vampires really do turn into bats.
Worst vampire ever. Took him 15 years to do that.
TDI Charlie Brown, thank you for the 50 bits. Rob, what was it like living overseas when your dad was in the military?
I remember it, but I was really young. So we were in Italy, and we were in Naples, and we were in like a villa that we were renting, and you could see Mount Vesuvius in the background, and there was like a swamp with water buffalo. It was Naples in the 1980s, so it was like second world country, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting, but I was so young that I didn't like a lot of it is just memories. But yeah, that was it. That's the only time I was overseas. So every other place I've lived has been in the States here.
Mm-hmm. I know, guys, thank you for the 50 bits. Have you checked out the Bad Guys trailer yet? If so, what do you think? It looks cute. I mean, I think the best part of that trailer is Billie Eilish's song, Bad Guy. But I'm also a Billie Eilish fangirl, so.
Yeah, it looks all right. No problem here.
I know, guys, thank you for the 50 bits. Have you checked out Smiling Friends yet? It's created by one of the people from Oni Plays.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
I know Doug has, but I haven't. I know, guys. Thank you for the 50 bits. Not gonna lie, I would have loved to see the Mario trailer today, considering that today is Mario Day. I know it's where I'm wearing my Nintendo shirt. However, I think it makes more sense to come with Sonic 2.
I don't celebrate Mario Day. It's not an authentic Italian holiday. They don't celebrate it over there. So please, people, don't be one of those guys who goes over to Italy on Mario Day and wears a fake mustache. Just embarrassing yourself.
Good
Rowdy,
PSA.
drunken, ugly Americans.
A very good PSA, Rob. Thank you for stopping people from making that
Where's
mistake.
Sega Day? We need a month, September.
September. I love it. You're really starting something here.
Sega Day?
Sega Day. Every week we have a Sega Day. I know, guys. Thank you for the 50 bits. I'm so happy that Shazam 2 is coming this Christmas. I'm going to have a double feature with Shazam 2 and Mario.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. I personally never wanted a Joker movie or thought we needed one. I thoroughly enjoyed Heath Ledger's Joker because he's an agent of chaos. Like chaos, the Joker should come out of nowhere. The Joker is an unknown force in response to Batman, who was the response to organized crime. That's what makes him a great/unique villain.
I don't know if we needed one, but I really, really liked that movie.
Yeah.
But it pushed all the buttons I like, which is that 70s exploitation film kind of, Taxi Driver, and then allusions to like Kings of Comedy, or King of Comedy, which is a great movie. So I really enjoyed it, but I also kind of considered it its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it stays that way.
Same.
We'll see.
They're talking about doing Joker 2, and like they said, they were only going to do it if there's something else to talk about and something else to do.
I want to march into Brad's comment sections on YouTube, and when Brad and I reviewed that movie, I said, they're going to do it, and everyone's like, no, they wouldn't do that. This is too high-class a movie, and it was like, I want to go in there and be like, I told you so.
Pat and Soa, thank you for the 50 bits. Were you worried at all about the Batman? If so, was there a moment where they left and you knew you were in good hands? I admit I was worried slightly, but the first time you see the Riddler, I said out loud, oh, this is going to be good.
The trailer helped a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a really good trailer. I think having Giancarlo, I think having his score in that trailer helped too. I didn't even realize until I saw the movie. I'm like, oh, that was the score. I thought that was some temp music they always throw in trailers. But I honestly, it was the opening shot, that voyeuristic shot, and it just told me almost instantly. It was like, okay, this guy knows how to set up. Like, it's very Hitchcockian. He knows how to set up these thrillers. Like, he gives us information that we know, because Hitchcock always had this great line, the secret to a really tense thriller is you have a bomb underneath a table and two people are sitting at that table, and the key is they don't know the bomb's there, but you do. And like, that is the key to the opening of this movie, where it's like, well, almost instantly something's off, but it plays with you too, because you don't know who's watching this guy. And like, in the first 1989 Batman, I think, did that too, where it's just like, oh, I can't give it away, but it's like, oh, is it this character? And then you're like, oh, wait a second. No, like, so there's all these illusions, and it really, about the first 5 minutes of the movie, I'm like, I'm on board. Already I knew, like, this is going to be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. Turtle Power, thank you for the 50 bits. Something I really liked about the new Batman is that Gotham felt like a unique location again, not just Chicago or Pittsburgh. Though, yes, I know that both The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises did film a bunch in London, but still. No, totally. Like, I saw a tweet about this and I was like, that's so true. That, like, it's so weird in retrospect that Christopher Nolan was just kind of like, I don't know, what's Gotham? I don't know, Chicago, I guess?
It made sense, though. Like,
it did.
Here's what people are always like, oh, Gotham's New York, don't understand. And there's an interview with one of the old Batman writers who said this. It's like, yeah, we kind of think of it as Gotham, the name, and oh, it's New York after midnight, but New York doesn't have back alleys. If you go to New York, that's why their garbage is on the sidewalk. Guess what has subterranean streets and back alleys everywhere and multiple layers? That's Chicago.
That is Chicago.
Like, that's why Chicago worked for me. And the funny thing is, watching this movie, you say that, oh, it doesn't look like Chicago. And they did a ton of CGI, and I think it looks really good, and I think it's super cool. At the same time, as somebody who's from Chicago, I was laughing my ass off because every single shot, almost every single shot, is Chicago.
There's a couple of ones, yeah, where it was like, oh, yep, all right.
There's multiple ones where it's like there's Chicago buildings in the background. I'm like, oh, well, there's Millennium Park. Oh, well, there's the same Board of Trade building where they flipped the truck.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Thompson Center, which looked like I think they were doing that as a spoof of Madison Square Garden, and then all the L tracks.
Yes.
I'm just like, yeah, like Chicago's all over this movie. And it's, if you don't know the city, it's fine. But as somebody who's been downtown all the time, I'm like, yeah, this is hilarious because it's like it's still very much Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
But they did a good job of covering it up more. I'll give you that.
Yes, yeah, of making it like its own character almost. Like, I feel like what the animated series does well is Gotham almost does feel like its own character. Because, like, the city makes a difference. Where you're at does make a difference. And I feel like this movie did a better job of that than the Dark Knight trilogy did.
It definitely looks more, it's Chicago if you put it in Burton's verse.
Yes,
is what it looks like. Whereas Nolan's, for the most part, after Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, it's just Chicago. That's
right.
it. There's no CGI. It's just Chicago. And then The Dark Knight Rises, it's just New York and Pittsburgh.
Right, exactly. Big Mac, thank you for the 50 bits. Rob, are there any particular areas of history you find especially interesting? Also, I'd recommend the YouTube channel Vlogging Through History. He's the one that got me interested in history.
I'll have to look that up. Celtic history, I really like it. It's because I was a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I like Anglo-Saxon history, but like not what people think Anglophile. It's like, oh, you like the royalty and the royals and the birds. No, I mean like before the Norman invasion, when it was like Anglo-Saxon tribes and look like something out of the Riders of Rohan. 19th century history I find really fascinating. I like history just in general, like clashes of empires and stuff. It's like there's no part of history I don't find interesting.
I have a particular not fixation, but very strong interest in World War I. World War I to me is fascinating. Like, we're still recovering from some of the geopolitical nonsense of World War I. It's insane.
I love Civil War history because it was the prequel to World War I. That was the first modern war. The Gatling gun shows up. Thousands of Americans die because the guns are so good and the tactics haven't changed. You get the first trench warfare in the American Civil War, too. Yeah, I find that stuff fascinating.
Alex loves musicals. Thank you for the 100 bits. Hi, Heather. I was wondering if you saw the second trailer for Fantastic Beasts 3. If so, what are your thoughts? I think Mads Mikkelsen will be incredible as Grindelwald. I love him in general. So I think he is a good choice for that. But I honestly haven't really been that invested in the Fantastic Beasts series.
That trailer came on and Doug and I just looked at each other. I just said, they're still making these? And Doug's I guess so.
They sure are. I honestly don't even know if I'm going to see the third one. I don't know. We'll see, but I'm just not that invested in the Fantastic Beasts series. Strider for Life, thank you for the 50 bits. Hello there, just saying hi from the high ground. Well, hello.
Hello. Don't do it. I have the high ground. That doesn't make any sense.
Sailor Aaron, thank you for the 350 bits. Oh, Rob and Heather, please check out YouTube channel Cinema Therapy. My favorite episode, they did a silent voice, Totoro, Train to Busan, Beauty and the Beast, etc.
I'll check it out. I love the silent voice. That was another rough film, though.
Yeah, for sure. Kermit Wazowski, thank you for the 50 bits. Do you have any favorite Game Grumps animated? The Does Bruno Mars is Gay article being brought up reminded me that the animation for that bit is god tier.
All the Zelda ones with Crazy Zelda, because it really hits home how nuts Zelda is. If you really just take this at face value, it's like, hi, little boy that's just showed up. You need to help me save the kingdom. I also really like Timmy, the boy who doesn't realize, the 17th century boy who doesn't realize his father wants to kill him. the Yoda one's good. Oh, my absolute favorite because it's gorgeous. Forget what game it was, but the Mario game where they were talking about like how serious it is and the Toad army marching. They'll never take our freedoms, Toad. It's got this like A bomb at the end of it. I love that one.
Turtle Power, thank you for the 50 bits. Hey, Robin Heather, did you see the photos of Joaquin Phoenix filming as Napoleon in the new Ridley Scott movie? And if so, what do you think?
I did not. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, interesting. Gary Turbo, thank you for the 50 bits. Now that Microsoft buying Activision/Blizzard is like buying Chicago Bulls, THPS is like DeMar DeRozan, been around for a long time yet still amazing. Overwatch is like Alex Caruso, haven't been around much, still decent. World of Warcraft is basically Tristan Thompson, forgettable. For Last Call of Duty is like Lonzo Ball, overrated garbage, where people still support.
Sounds about right.
Hewlett fan, thank you for the 85 bits. Heather, who do you think is the cutest version of Harley Quinn? And also, which movie character do you think suffered the worst fate in cinema? Hot take, Space Jam: A New Legacy is literally the worst kids film ever. I can't believe that film even exists.
Okay, no, there are others.
Rob's like, there are others.
Either.
I've experienced them.
Yeah, if you have kids, I guarantee you've seen worse kids movies. They're out there. You could go through Netflix and get into that little like dollar bin section they've got of kids films.
Yeah. I don't know which movie character I thought suffered the worst fate in cinema. That's so like overarching. I don't even know. The kids in Grave of the Fireflies? Oh no,
great.
Heather.
I mean, the worst fate in cinema.
Yeah, that's so overarching.
I'll say this, like, I love the opening to The Mummy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a PG-13 film, but when they're like, I just remember like, and all of the priests were mummified alive. And it just shows them like pulling out a guy's tongue. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. So that was kind of up there. And then they dumped the scarabs on the dude. I was like, oof, I want to be those guys.
Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. When Bruce used his car to save his employee, it kind of runs parallel, no pun intended, with Batman Forever. The scene in the circus where Bruce stands up, willing admits he's Batman, and even behind the scenes fighting Two-Face henchmen, proving in/out of costume he's Batman and he will do what's right. Yeah,
I actually like that. That's Batman Forever. Like, there's a lot of stuff in it I like, and I loved when he stood up and said, "I'm Batman." You know, it's like some people are like, well, you wouldn't just get. I'm like, yeah, I would, like, to save the lives of everybody there. And I love the conceit that it's just like nobody hears him. Like the one time he wants to save a life by admitting who he is.
Patton Soa, thank you for the 50 bits. God help me, I was so sad at the end of the Batman with that surprise character. Yeah, no spoilers, chat. Not sure if this is something you can answer or not, but what characters do you want to see in this Batman's universe? I mean, Batman has so many interesting villains.
Or even if, like, do ones that didn't get a good treatment. Freeze.
Mm-hmm.
Scarecrow was okay in Batman Begins.
I would love to see a Calendar Man, like a interesting, well-done Calendar Man.
The Clock King would be another interesting one if you want like a mad bomber kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just Poison Ivy as an eco-terrorist, like grounded a little more, like she doesn't have the giant talking poison plants or whatever, but like, you know, she's an eco-terrorist, like taking on Gotham because it's an urban hellscape. Like there's just so many like other characters that you could go with that aren't as, you know, the top 3 or 4.
Right. Or Strider for Life, Mad Hatter. Would love to see an interesting interpretation of Mad Hatter. Yeah. You know?
Kite Man.
Hell yeah. Turtle Power, thank you for the 50 bits. Did you see that The Flash and Aquaman got pushed back to 2023? What do you think? Personally, I think it's very funny that this is less than a month after WB put out promo advertising 2022 as their year of heroes.
What a stupid promo, too.
Yeah.
I sat there and watched it. I'm like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Just throw out a trailer for a movie like anybody else. Like, I don't know. It rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, this movie, like, because this is right before the Batman, I'm like, I'm sure this movie's going to be really good, but it's like, boy, they're really full of themselves with this thing. I I
I'm
would
worried about the
rather.
Flash.
Yeah, I'm always for more time to make a movie, but there's no set date, but there's always like a thin magic line where it's just like, oh, you need more time to finish it, and no, this is production hell.
Hmm.
And the longer you take, the worse and worse it's just going to get. As now you keep trying to overcorrect what you feel some mistake is.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping we're not there yet, but I'm getting a little worried.
Turtle Power, thank you for the 50 bits. Hi, Rob. Have you ever watched any of the cartoons Doug has done for Darktoons, like Courage the Cowardly Dog or Invader Zim? The latter seems like something that you might enjoy.
Oh, I love Invader Zim. Yeah. I saw that before Doug watched it for Darktoons. I told him years ago, I'm like, oh, you should watch this show.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it religiously. I've just seen it's like it's a World of Gumballs, another one where I've just seen many episodes.
Hmm.
I've never seen the whole show, but yeah, every episode I've seen of Invader Zim, I'm like, oh, this is funny.
Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. When you guys hear Matt Reeves' Batman score, doesn't it sound like the Darth Vader theme? Aside from that, I left the movie humming the songs. I mean,
It's you know what it reminded me of? I know what the I guess if you sped it up, it reminded me of, and maybe it's just the scene where he's walking towards the car with the fire and everything, and the boots are kind of clinking. I got almost a Western vibe. Like you get the
mm,
church bell, the dong, like high noon
mm-hmm.
kind of sound. I enjoyed the hell out of the score. I thought it
Yeah.
was good. Um, and I've loved pretty much all the Batman scores, I think. I don't think even the Batman and Robin. I'm like, well, the score is the one good thing about this.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, guys. Thank you for the 50 bits. You know how Roland Emmerich said that superhero movies are all the same? Pretty hypocritical considering that he's called the king of disaster movies. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
listen to anyone who.
okay, it's an overplayed criticism, but if you're gonna make that criticism, don't throw the stone through the glass house. I'm like, really, Roland Emmerich? You're the one who's. I'm like, I don't like the way Marvel is kind of a little bland and a little samey to me nowadays after like a decade of this. I can guarantee they still feel all 1,000 times more different than any of Roland Emmerich's movies.
Mhm.
Like they've all been the exact same disaster film since pretty much Godzilla.
Pat and Soa, thank you for the 50 bits. Rob, a few weeks ago, Doug said there might be a special guest for the Mask of the Phantasm review. Can't wait for that, by the way. Is that going to happen? And if so, can I guess the guest initials are CS? You'll just have to see.
I think it's going to happen, but I will not confirm who it is because Doug's not here and I don't want to spoil it for him.
Adam Grunther, thank you for the 50 bits. Which Doom Patrol villain besides Mr. Nobody was your favorite? I don't know. Why can't I just pick Mr. Nobody?
The guy running the former league of the brain. The brain dude.
Oh, I haven't seen season 3 yet.
Yeah, the brain dude. I did enjoy the brain dude.
Adam Grunther, thank you for the 50 bits. What do you think of John Turturro as Carmine Falcone in the Batman?
I really liked him. He was kind of in the background for a couple scenes, and then when like he got up close, I'm like, oh hey, it's John Turturro. I thought he was like pitch perfect. I enjoyed his character a lot.
Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. Sorry, excuse me. Heather and Rob, when you guys go to the theater, do you get recognized and take pictures and sign autographs? Absolutely not.
No,
Nope.
I don't. Doug and I have gotten recognized in theaters before. And I've gotten it at the grocery store of all things a few times. I feel bad because it's always at a moment where it's just like I'm either sick or you kind of feel like shit, and then you're kind of caught off guard, and you're like, oh hey, yeah, hi. But I try to be nice to fans if we're spotted.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sometimes you're just so tired.
Gary Turbo, thank you for the 50 bits. I think that people telling how Feige should run the MCU should let him do the movie how he wants. He's not listening to it and does it how he wants. Hell, people still like it. It's like giving Tyson Fury pointers on how to fight. Yeah, I mean, they're going to do what they want, so.
If people keep showing up, that's fine. I mean, Disney adheres to only one philosophy. The mouse needs his cheese.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and like complain and say like, well, how dare they not switch things up if they're still making money? It's just, I don't need to watch it and I don't need to find it interesting after a certain point. So they'll hit a wall at some point, and then eventually they'll have to reorientate or course correction, I guess.
We're gonna have to speed it up just a little bit here towards the end. Turtle Power, thank you for the 50 bits. Hi Rob, have you ever seen any videos by the Scottish comedian Limmy? And if not, I think you should check him out. His stuff is very dark and funny if you can understand through his Scottish accent. Limey, maybe? Limmy.
I feel like that sounds familiar. I might have, because I do love all things Scotland. Craig Ferguson, best late night show ever. I'll look it up.
I know, guys. Thank you for the 50 bits. Will you ever check out the HBO Max show named Our Flag Means Death? It actually looks quite funny, but I haven't seen any episodes yet.
I'll look at it. I don't even know what it's about.
Yeah, me neither. Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. Which gangster movie do you think can rival the quality of The Godfather? Goodfellas or Scarface?
Oh, Goodfellas.
I love Goodfellas.
Scarface is great, but it's silly. Like, Goodfellas is legit great.
Adam Grunther, thank you for the 50 bits. Do you think Poison Ivy could ever work as the villain in a sequel to The Batman? For sure. Like Rob was saying. As a
eco-terrorist. She doesn't have to have living plants that can kill people. Like, just eco-terrorists. Poisons, toxins.
Retro Station, thank you for the 200 bits. Just wanting to say I agree with Rob on Chicago. So, this is just a squee to say I'm hyped to see y'all at MGC 2020. Or 2022. And Heather, hyped to see you as well. Question, can a good Superman movie be made without another broad wipe?
Like,
yeah.
With Henry Cavill, is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a good Superman movie could still be made.
I'd like to see Henry Cavill get somebody who knows what they're doing, because I've loved Henry Cavill in everything but those Superman movies. So I would like to see them try again. And
he's got the build and the skills to be a good Superman. He truly does.
So. He does. So, yeah.
Turtle Power, thank you for the 50 bits. I believe they shot most of the movie in Glasgow and Liverpool, but you're right. They did take a lot of influence from Chicago. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's definitely some scenes that are literal shots of Chicago.
Yeah.
In the Batman.
Trust me, there's a lot of shots that are in. I know I can tell some of the buildings, I'm like, that looks European. But I'm like, there's a ton of Chicago in it. You're just going to have to trust me on that.
Pattinsoa, thank you for the 50 bits. Rob, have you watched the documentary Heart of Batman? It's free on YouTube and it's a fantastic behind-the-scenes look at the making of Batman the Animated Series.
No, but I'll check that out because I love that show.
Yeah, you've mentioned it before and I keep meaning to. I'm sorry. Turtle Power, thank you for the 50 bits. Actually, now that I think about it, most Batman movies have been shot in the UK. Batman 89, Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises, Justice League, and the new one. Weird. I think it has more to do with cheap sound stages.
Cheap sound stages. They've got Pinewood Studios, and then in Nolan's case, it's because he's British is part of it. So.
Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. When Star Wars Visions gets a second season, what kind of episodes and animation styles do you want to see? Ooh.
Oh, what we got already, I really enjoyed. So
yeah, just more of that.
Yeah.
More studios having the reign to do things in their style. Adam Grunther, thank you for the 50 bits. Have you ever seen Sonic for Hire? It's by the people at Dorkly and about Sonic getting jobs in other video games, then screwing up by getting high or murdering the other characters. It's basically Always Sunny with game characters.
No, I've seen a lot of Dorkly's stuff and a lot of their little Sonic and Mario, like 5-minute or 1-minute one-off videos. I've never seen that, though. Sounds funny.
Strider for Life, thank you for the 50 bits. Since The Dark Knight's Gotham is basically Chicago, that would make Bruce Wayne Doug Walker's neighbor.
Well, Doug was in the movie, so.
Pattinsoa, thank you for the 50 bits. Rob, so help me God, I was looking for any potential hint for Freeze. I got my hopes up when a certain lounge was shown. I was looking for Gothcore or Ferris Boyle or anything. Alas, I'm stuck with ice puns. Thank Christ for the animated series Freeze.
Yeah, I don't know if this series is going to do it, but you never know.
Yeah. Adam Grunther, thank you for the 50 bits. If you could hang out with one Harley Quinn character, who would it be? Personally, I'd hang with Ivy.
Oh, Frank the Plant.
From the series, yes.
Yeah, he and I are simpatico. I'm like, I love this guy.
I think I'd hang with Ivy, though, too. She's great. Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. My favorite historical eras are medieval Japan and Egyptian. In the Mummy movie, where Imhotep's priests are mummified, my thoughts were, boy, are they strict, because I know they actually did that in history.
Sorry, I was just thinking of Blazing Saddles. Boy, are they strict. Yeah, no, those are two great eras too. I do love Japanese history too. So
yeah. Adam Gunther, thank you for the 50 bits. What's your favorite Brendan Fraser performance?
Honestly, probably Doom Patrol.
Just yeah, Robot
like,
Man.
Yeah, that kid, like, and I know a lot of it's voiceover, but without him, it's just nothing. He really makes that character.
Mm-hmm. And even when he's like, he is actually on screen, he's so great in that. Big Mac, thank you for the 50 bits. Have you seen season 2 of The Witcher, Rob?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's nice that it's in chronological order now. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I thought most of the monsters were actually a little more interesting this time around. I thought they were slightly lame maybe in the first season, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to more. Can't get enough of it.
Adam Grunther, thank you for the 50 bits. Which Batman villain who hasn't gotten an amazing portrayal in a movie yet would you want the most? Two-Face, Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, or Mr. Freeze?
I thought Two-Face was fine in Aaron Eckhart's. Probably Mr. Freeze, because there's a built-in tragic backstory there. I thought Scarecrow was good enough in Batman Begins. Probably, so Mr. Freeze or Poison Ivy.
Sailor Aaron, thank you for the 199 bits. Heather and Rob, I've got an anime for you. Princess Tutu. It's on Amazon Prime, and I assure you, Rob, that the dub is really great. It's a magical girl deconstruction anime similar to Madoka Magica.
I did really like Madoka Magica. So this is dark, though, because I love me some dark magical girl deconstruction.
Pat and Soa, thank you for the 100 bits. Last question, and it's a doozy. Rob, favorite beer?
Oh, geez. I like a really good, like, thick imperial stout. Goose Island's Bourbon County stouts are always amazing.
Yep.
And I have a real love for this, like, rare brand of Belgian beer called a Flanders Red. And if you do it right, it tastes kind of fruity, but also like balsamic vinegar. Duchess is probably my favorite of that brand.
Cool. Awesome. Gary Turbo, thank you for the 50 bits. What lesser-known DC superhero movie do you want to see? I would like to see a Vixen movie with Bronze Tiger as a love interest / adversary, which could be DC's answer to Black Panther. I'd love like Zatanna, almost as DC's like.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, like geez, my DC's Doctor Strange, almost like bringing the magic more into it.
Yeah, I could say. As somebody was mentioning earlier, like, I wouldn't mind seeing a Nightwing movie. I know that's not one of the lesser known, but yeah.
Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. I personally believe Nolan laid the groundwork on how to balance multiple villains in a movie. Cillian Murphy Scarecrow is honestly my favorite version of Scarecrow.
Okay, yeah, because Doug and I disagree on this, because he doesn't like Cillian Murphy in that movie. He likes Cillian Murphy overall, but he's like, oh, he's too young and to this. I told him, here's what I love most about Cillian Murphy in that movie. I don't like him as the Scarecrow. The Scarecrow is a stupid mask. But him as Crane, the thing that is so awesome about him is you get this sense that he is the smartest guy in the room, and he knows what Ra's al Ghul's plans are, and he just has to sit there and roll his eyes as every idiot fucks up around him. And that scene where he puts up, he's like, you want to see my mask? Like, you could just see him just like, you know what? I just want to get this over with. Like, you know, he's talking, he's just like, same thing we would do. Otherwise, just call the police. Like, he always has this look like, and when he's talking to Rachel Dawes too, and he's just like, like, I just love that as a character where he's just like, I don't have time for your bullshit. And I love that in a villain. So I really like him.
Strider for Life, thank you for the 50 bits. If you like film documentaries, have you seen Empire of Dreams? It's about what George Lucas went through to make Star Wars.
Yes, I thought it was a pretty good documentary.
And Talkative Carl, thank you for the 50 bits. Zatanna or Wanda, who would win? I mean, Zatanna's one of my favorites, but I think Wanda would win that fight, unfortunately.
Say Zatanna, because I think she's hotter.
Great. All right, well, that's a wonderful way to wrap up, because it is 7:01 here.
Happy not International Women's
Happy not International Women's Day. Thank you all so much for joining us here tonight. We super appreciate you being here. As I said at the beginning of stream, tomorrow Doug will be back with his Spider-Man stream. So come on back tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon, because Malcolm will be here at 1 o'clock. And then Doug will be here at 6 o'clock. And again, these are all central times. But yeah, you know, as I always like to remind you, we've got content here 6 days a week. So come on back, hang out with us. We always appreciate seeing you here. We literally could not do these streams without you.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's so true that you ripped it off from me.
I did. You know what? I'm sorry. Rob,
now what am I supposed to say? Just, I guess I enjoy you people?
You can just say bye-bye. Goodbye now. No.
I can do that.
All right, everyone.
Thanks a lot, guys. It's been fun.
Have a great night. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Goodbye now. Goodbye. Go see the Batman. Bye.